So I've used Windows computers my whole life, and if you've been following my channel for a while, I'm a big fan of Microsoft products. Because of my biases, I always had a bad impression of Mac OS. Plus, Macs and Apple products in general were usually very expensive for what they offered, and I hated how Mac OS handled window management. But for the first time in my life, I've been using a MacBook as a work laptop for the past 3 months. My job required me to use an M1 MacBook Pro. For work privacy reasons, I'm using a separate user profile on this laptop. But yeah, after a bit of an adjustment period, I have to say I was wrong about Macs. Now, before I get into all the reasons why and all the recommended tips for transitioning Windows users, let me talk about our sponsor for this video, MacBack. The MacBack case and wallet combo is a minimal yet super useful case and mounting solution for the iPhone 13 series. With built-in magnets, the MacBack case is 100% wireless charging and MagSafe compatible. It's got raised padded corners for maximum protection, and it lets you use the wallet for not just cash or cards, but a kickstand too in either orientation. The wallet itself has a nice finger loop and RFID shielding for comfort and security. The magnetic strength is actually really solid, so you don't need to worry about this slipping off your phone, and you can stick it on any metal surface. Plus, with the included MagSticks, you can essentially mount your iPhone on any kind of surface like your car dashboard or your kitchen wall. I know there's a ton of magnetic cases out there, but nothing quite like MacBack. Overall, I just love the look and feel of this case. So take advantage of the 1-year warranty and 30-day money-back guarantee and get yours today using the link and discount code below. To start, let's talk about the startup experience. In terms of signing in, I prefer Windows mostly because of Windows Hello, offering both face and fingerprint unlock on many different computers from different OEMs. Macs do provide Touch ID but not Face ID quite yet, which I'm assuming will come sometime in the future, just not this year. With that said, booting up an M1 MacBook from an off state feels so much faster and more efficient than doing the same on Windows. The off to on boot up time may sometimes be faster on Windows laptops, but Windows always takes a little over a minute for the system and startup software to really wake up and reach its usual performance. On the other hand, the M1 MacBook is running as soon as you boot up and sign in, which definitely helps with productivity. After booting up, apps launch instantaneously with light animations. The OS is just super responsive, and because of all of this together, macOS just feels like a much lighter and more efficient operating system. Speaking of which, let's just talk about the price to performance ratio that you're getting with these M1 MacBooks, especially the M1 MacBook Air. Like, I knew was true from hearing about Apple Silicon, but actually experiencing it was totally another thing. This is the most consistent performance I've experienced on a computing device in my entire life. Even after pushing this laptop with multiple apps running, music, and heavy video editing, it just doesn't slow down. And this is true on the base version of the Air with or without the charger, which is just insane for a Windows user like me. All that performance is great, but the most mind-boggling thing is the battery life. This is my first laptop that truly lasts all day. I definitely don't get Apple's supposed 18 hours of battery life, but I do get about 10 to 11 hours of actual use, and the standby time is insane. It really never dies on me during the workday, and because the battery is not even that big, the charging time is pretty quick too. You can go from 0 to 50 in just an hour. It's hard for me to say this, but these Apple products are just a great deal. You really can't find this much power and efficiency at this price on a Windows laptop. One thing us Windows users have been dying for is a unified OS design. Even with all the cohesive visual improvements of Windows 11, there are still legacy components that will scream at your face with the old look. That is definitely less of a problem here on macOS. I wouldn't say it's 100% consistent either, but the visual contrast between two programs is much less noticeable here. Even in terms of simple day-to-day animations such as closing and opening apps, doing a simple search and all that, the speed and animation in which these things are done are very consistent across macOS. On Windows, some things are super quick and the animations are just fine, but some others are very sluggish, such as showing all open windows and searching within the system. These little details are truly the joyful parts of macOS, and I can see that now. Plus, this applies to the third-party apps as well. Third-party or first-party, all Mac apps look very similar and native to the OS. In general, it looks like there's a lot more modern dev support for third-party Mac apps compared to Windows. I do think the gap between Windows and macOS in this unified design aspect is closing. There's still some more work to do on the Windows side. With all that said though, I realize that macOS is not as easy to use or as user-friendly as everyone says it is. The vanilla default macOS experience has a lot of annoying things to it. While window snapping has been a staple on Windows for easily managing a bunch of apps in Windows, it's only just started being a thing on macOS. Instead of easy shortcut keys or gestures, you have to hover your cursor over this tiny expand icon to open apps in split view. Even with this, the experience is pretty terrible. It reminds me of split screening on Windows 10 tablet mode, which is gross. Most of the time, I see coworkers, family, and friends manually resizing windows and moving them around. I mean, this is fine with a couple of apps open, but if you're being productive and working with a bunch of tabs and windows, this is just a bad experience. Related to that point, 4-finger swipe up to open Mission Control is great, but the default Command Tab shortcut key is pretty useless when switching between apps with multiple windows open, such as the browser or PDF files. The shortcut only considers individual apps, but not all the open windows. So you either need to use Mission Control and peep at the screen to find the window of the app that you're looking for. The dock doesn't really help with this either. You just see a dot here to see if the app is open or not. You can't really preview what's open within each app. 2-finger click just gets you this list view, which isn't that helpful. I also don't like that apps don't actually close when clicking on the X here, or if you close all the windows. You have to manually quit the app. You do get used to doing this using the Command Q shortcut, but I still don't 100% see the logic behind this. This other thing is a problem on both Windows and macOS, mostly due to their age as operating systems, but the settings are sort of everywhere and anywhere. It's hard to find where to change which setting. Thankfully, the search function is pretty excellent on macOS, so it's easy to find specific settings by searching it up, but like the annoying Bing search function on Windows, macOS also likes to resort to web searches for simple in-system searches. There are also some things that are made to be more user-friendly, but I find pretty useless. This includes the control center and the widgets. Considering how small these buttons are, I find these features very much left out in the corner and not very user-accessible. With all that said though, one of the biggest misconceptions I had about macOS was that it was not very customizable compared to Windows. But as I learned how to use macOS and customize it for my own use cases, all the Microsoft apps that I needed were here, except for the games of course, but I found macOS to be very customizable. I found third-party solutions to basically every issue I had with the OS. So with the absence of window snapping, I installed a 100% free third-party tool called Rectangle. It let me snap windows just the way I did it on Windows, including easy keyboard shortcuts. Like I mentioned, the default Command Tab app switching mechanism just sucks on macOS, but with another third-party tool called Alt Tab, I mapped Command Tab to show all open windows and their previews. On top of that, I'm okay with the mini bar at the top here, but I found the dock to be a little annoying. It's like just hanging there, blocking my apps from being totally full screen. So first, I turned on Auto Hide for the dock, and for apps that I want to see notification dots from, I'm using another free tool called Doll. This lets me put things like Slack in the menu bar so I can see if I have any notifications without having to look at the dock. With all these possible customizations I can do on macOS, which I easily found by Googling, it's now hard for me to complain much about this operating system. So since I'm so positive about macOS now, the question is, will I be switching from Windows to macOS as my personal laptop? The answer is no, for now. While it's a very convenient OS, I still find myself gravitating towards Windows, especially because my Windows laptop can be my all-in-one. I can do all my work, connect my Android phone to your phone, and play all the games that I want since the compatibility isn't an issue. But I do find macOS to be much more convenient for doing work, and the price performance with these Apple Silicon laptops is pretty insane. So it's hard for me to be totally against it. I think this experience has been a slow poison pill for me. I'm really going to be contemplating which OS to go with once my Idea 5 Pad Pro dies in a few years. Good job, Apple. You haven't fully pulled me in yet, but you've made a very good case with this laptop. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments where you stand in the desktop laptop market right now. With all these CPU and GPU battles going on between Apple, Nvidia, AMD, Intel, it's definitely a fun time to be in the market right now for a new computer. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys on the next video.